Homosexuality is the ultimate perversion of manhood, and it is, by the way, the end of society. When I say the West has fallen, I say it particularly because in 2003, the United States legalized sodomy. In 2015, they legalized homosexual marriage. And here we are in 2022, featuring the ultimate degradation of homosexuality, which is drag queens in elementary schools, grooming kids to be as perverted as a male could possibly be. And the government is demanding acceptance for these people, if not making them the priority. Where you have homosexuality, you have the end of a culture. When it is legalized, the way it has been in this country, when it is normalized so that they can be married, and when it is praised and elevated, you know the culture has fallen. But they make laws to protect two of these categories, the effeminate and the homosexuals. Why is the government doing that? Why has the government selected sins to protect? Why is that happening? Because the government is under the sway of Satan himself. And the damage done by these sins is massive, substantial, and seminal, because it destroys human identity, destroys marriage, and destroys the family, and destroys children, and destroys the society. So the kingdom of darkness makes laws to protect the most destructive behaviors. This must be recognized for what it is. Sin. Serious sin. Damning sin. Destructive sin. You say, well, our society cultivates tolerance, and you're giving hate speech. What I'm saying is not hate speech. What the Democratic Party is saying is hate speech, because they must hate the homosexuals if they will allow them to go the direction they're going, affirm that, knowing that it'll take them to hell. That's hate speech. This is love speech. You either warn them or you affirm them. And Romans 1 warns them. And any faithful Christian warns, this is dangerous. This is deadly. It's better to warn them than to affirm them. You might be the nice guy to affirm them, but that's not love speech. That's hate speech.
This is what happened when you have a depraved mind.
This baby is going to be a world changer.
This is what happened when you a man thinking you're a woman. John MacArthur has spoken out against homosexuality, stating that it is a sin according to the Bible. He has also spoken out against the acceptance of homosexuality in society and in the church.
God gave them, past tense over, in the lusts of their hearts to impurity, so that their bodies would be dishonored among them. When this wrath goes into place, the first thing you will see is a sexual revolution. When God abandons a culture, you will see them sink to a low level of lust and impurity and the dishonoring of their bodies.
It is an unprecedented time in the history of human sexuality. Western cultures have witnessed a tremendous cultural and social transformation of sexuality over the years. We're living in a time where sexual immorality have taken over this country. Behind this movement are celebrities and social media, not to mention the leaders in this country. This is what happened when you decided not to wear a pride jersey in the NHL.
A strange turn of events before the Flyers hosted the Anaheim Ducks tonight. The team wore pride jerseys during warm-ups to celebrate the LGBTQ+ community. However, defenseman Ivan Provorov would not join them on the ice, citing his Russian Orthodox beliefs. Here's what he said after the game.
Yeah, I respect everybody, and I respect everybody's choices. My choice is to stay true to myself and my religion. That's all I'm going to say.
The National Hockey League need to attack this and figure this out. Because what I heard last night was offensive. If anyone in Canada or in the States on a military appreciation night wouldn't wear a jersey pregame, do you have any idea the uproar that would have happened on that? Do you have any idea the backlash? And one last point. Nothing scares me more than any human being who says, I'm not doing this because of my religious beliefs. The National Hockey League today needs to fine that organization $1 million and reevaluate how they support gay rights. Because that is insulting. That is the #1 trending topic in Canada. That is insulting what happened in Philadelphia.
Many people want them off the team or get kicked out of the league entirely. This movement went from, we want equal rights, to if you don't do what we say, you don't have the right to eat or live.
Sure, I'm sure every NFL hockey player will be sure to assert their religious objections in the future if they have to be fined $1 million or if they're not allowed to play in the games. That's not how free speech works. And how about that dumb guy that we just played from morning television trying to compare the service of veterans to flying a flag in support of ambiguous gay rights? I don't even know what I'm supporting. There's so many letters in there. Am I supporting the LGP? Am I supporting the T? Because there's issues with the T that you don't have with the L and B and G that doesn't get me upset. Like, how does this guy even know? Who even knows what we're supporting? I don't blame him for not wanting to wear the jersey.
I mean, soon we will need more than 26 letters in the alphabet for their name. But seriously, this is total control over everything. Imagine if us Christians had a day in sport where we celebrate Jesus. I think the whole world would come to an end. Why is this happening?
The first thing that happens when a nation is under judgment is a sexual revolution. Verse 25 says, reminding us why it happened, they exchanged the truth of God for a lie, worshiped and served the creature rather than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this reason, again, looking back at verse 25, because of their rejection of God, for this reason, God gave them over to degrading passions, for their women exchanged the natural function for that which is unnatural. Verse 27, in the same way also the men abandoned their natural function of the woman, burned in their desire toward one another, men with men committing indecent acts and receiving in their own person the due penalty of their error. When God abandons a society, the first thing that happens is a sexual revolution, inevitably followed by a homosexual revolution. And you have it described in verses 26 and 27. And interestingly enough, it starts with the female side of that and lesbianism, because when God abandons a nation, the instinct, the strongest human instinct there is, the instinct of women mothering their children, is perverted. This is that severe a blow, this level of judgment on human culture and human society.
Today's society full of flaws, overly concerned with the opinion of others, money chasing, fame, too much sensitivity, and a focus on material wealth are all contributing factors to the current state of society.
And then you have the male homosexuals in verse 27, committing indecent acts and receiving in their own persons the due penalty of their error. There's an immediate penalty, and you would remember it as the AIDS epidemic. It's built in. It's a venereal disease that is built in because that kind of behavior will have built in its own punishment, as well as being evidence of the abandonment of God. And why does this happen? Because they didn't see fit to acknowledge God any longer. Verse 28, they keep going back, these verses, to the reason. They rejected God, they rejected God, they rejected God. First, there's a sexual revolution, followed by a homosexual revolution, verse 26 and 27. Then look at the middle of verse 28. Here's step 3. God gave them over to a depraved mind. A depraved mind is a mind that doesn't function. Sometimes it's translated a reprobate mind. But the Greek word means non-functioning. That's when you're a man and you think you're a woman. It's a kind of insanity. And it's an insanity that is such an insanity, it begs the issue of reason to even think people would do this. The reason people are doing it is because they are under divine judgment.